I'm on Shoshone Loop by Skalkaho Highway. I'm on my bicycle, you know the drill. This is the third trip I've taken up here, and the last one was a month ago, and things are warmer, so I'm just going to continue on my way. Probably won't make another thing for a while because most of the course you've seen already. So these are bighorn sheep, and there is a quite large herd of them. It looks like at least a dozen, maybe 2 dozen bighorn sheep. And these two are currently moving away from me. They're a little bit suspicious. They're pretty brave animals, but you know, if I sit here long enough, I'll probably annoy them. And so they are pretty common here, but still a treat to see. And they live up in the hills, and then at different times of the year, they come down here. They have kind of a complex lateral or up and down migratory system. And a couple years back, there was like an infection that was spreading among them, and the herd was thinned. And this looks like a pretty big herd. I haven't seen a herd this big in a while. And I don't know about the social dynamics, whether these are the herd leaders and these are the pack. And unlike moose or something, they are not actually that aggressive. If I was this close to moose, I'd be very stupid. But these are, you know, you can just see what they're doing, and they're probably going to move out of the way. Guy on a bicycle is scarier than a guy on a car. They're also very good at climbing, obviously. So I just wanted to point that out because obviously it's one of the more interesting things I've seen today. So I'm here at Centennial Grove, where I've been before. And you remember in the first video, it was quite a detailed struggle to get here. And this time I've just skipped that because we've already seen it before. And also for me, in the past, I was wondering what was wrong with me because it took a lot of effort to get this far. And today, you know, it's an uphill ride and it's been 12 miles or so, but I actually am not feeling tired yet, which is good because today I'm planning to go a bit further in this direction. So I'll post again when we're seeing something at least kind of new. Also, you can see that creek is very high. So this is milepost 12, just like a half mile up from Centennial Grove. And there's this little pull-off here. And last time I bicycled by here, I didn't notice it and I forgot about it, even though when I used to bicycle this route, this would be like my place. And this used to be some type of road, and so there's a little vantage point here. And what is also interesting to me, might have fallen down now. Oh no, you can still see there's still some supports there. So I think of what you look at here, this used to be a bridge that went over there. Don't know the history of that, but it's also interesting to me because, well, that's interesting to me. It's also interesting to me because, like, you know, when you have a place that's your route and you see it all the time, stuff like this that's like invisible from the road and that I'd forgotten about, this was like a pretty significant place. Like this was milepost 12. This is where I knew that I was going to do 24 miles. But from the road, that just looks like that. Anyway, I've already rested, so I'm going to go up this way some more. We've reached the turnoff for Skalkaho Road, which is also kind of maybe probably the road to go to eventually Sleeping Child, where I was 3 days ago. But today I'm not going that way. I'm going to continue this way, and I still have a full pack of energy, which is good because there's actually bigger challenges ahead and more beauty. We are right before the first gate, and I just saw this sign that says U.S. Forest Service, no motor vehicles, but it looks like there's at least some. So maybe that's normally an access road. That could also be a trail or something, and it might provide a shortcut of a sort up that way. So I will leave that in my mind for the future, but today that's a side note because I'm going to get back on my bicycle, head back this way. So spoilers, Skalkaho Falls, 6 miles, that is my destination. I'm not sure how accurate that sign is. And also 6 miles, well, I mean, I came 14 miles already. That can't be that tough, right? 6 miles, I think it's about 1,500 feet of elevation gain. So from here, it's already been steep. It's going to get steeper. So this says road closed. The road is not actually closed. As you can see, the gate is open. You can also see the water is running fast here. We were here about a month ago, and there was still ice on the river or ice on the creek. Obviously that's not the case now. And as we go up, we might see some ice and snow high above us, but I don't think we'll see any more ice on the creek. Anyway, from here, the road narrows and gets steeper, and this gate is open, so there will still be cars past here, but probably not a lot. So this will be even more relaxing, but probably more strenuous. So far, it's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to like hit a wall where I'd have to get out and walk, and I'm in my lowest gear, but I'm still moving up this road, and if it's not apparent, it's certainly worth it. There's the creek down there and the mountains around me, so yeah, nice ride, but effort. So despite the fact that it actually was easier to bicycle, I did get off and walk, and I'm probably going to walk for a little longer. This road is long, so hard to put out maximum effort all the time, and also don't want to get overheat or get dehydrated, and also I'm not in a hurry. Like, there's no reason not to spend my time here. So I'm back, just cruising along on my bicycle, and it's relatively smooth, and as you can see, we have the creek, which as mentioned is technically Daly Creek, not Skalkaho Creek, right beside the road. So pretty nice place to bicycle, obviously. So one thing, even when I was a regular bicyclist up the Skalkaho, where it was like my friendly neighborhood route, I would usually go to the milepost 12s, to the Centennial Grove, sometimes to the first gate, Skalkaho Ride, turn off, that stuff. And the times I actually went past the first gate were probably, I don't know, 10 times in total. So even though I've been here before, I don't automatically recognize the landmarks and know how far I've gone, especially after several years. So this is all new to me in a way. So look at all that water coming down there. And I think that's still snow-fed water. I mean, there's still melt up higher, or groundwater that was very recently melt, and see it going into the creek. And that's not really even a creek, that's just a culvert or a rill or something, but very busy at this time of year. So ahead, you can see an orange sign. Road closed 1,500 feet. That is the sign I'm waiting for. So let's see what's there. So right here we have several things going on. Road closed. That is the second gate. Also past that gate, in a couple hundred feet, the pavement turns to gravel or dirt. We have a road that goes this way, and if I continued on this road, I would eventually climb up that hill there and then loop back and end up on Skalkaho Rye Road, and I've done that before. But today I have a different goal, which is, to continue to the falls, which is 3 miles in air quotes that way, whatever that means here. We also have this little bridge crossing the creek, and despite the creek being, steeper earlier, you can see here we're kind of in a little plateau, and there's kind of like a little mini swamp or plain here where the creek spreads out. And in past, I've come here and just relaxed by the side of the creek. Looks like a nice place, right? And it is. One thing about my routing today is my original plan was to come this far on this trip and then make it all the way to the falls another trip. But it's the middle of May, and if you look at the weather today, pretty ideal. It's like probably, 65 and cool here, light breeze, no rain, not too hot. And I actually packed a sweater that barely fits in my panniers because I didn't know it wasn't going to get colder. But one reason I want to do this today is that in a couple of weeks it might be way too hot. There's a narrow window of opportunity when this road is snow and ice free, but not boiling hot. So that's why I chose today, and might as well. And what else would I be? I'd be at home hitting refresh on Reddit, arguing with strangers about trains on the internet. I might as well do something productive. Then one last point while I'm resting here, taking a break. Look at that tree. You can probably see it's barely budding out. And if you look at the trees here, they are just starting to leaf out in you know, the middle end of May. So this entire ride, I think, has 2,700 feet of elevation gain from about 3,400 to about 6,100, something like that. And so far, this is about 2,000 feet. So down in the valley, of course, things are, you know, full spring. Here you can see spring is still a ways away. The other thing about road closed is I won't have to worry about cars. Although I will still keep one eye open because there could be, I don't actually know if the gate is closed on the other side, could be open by accident, there could be utility vehicles and stuff, so I will not be totally careless, but in general, this will be even more peaceful. And earlier I talked to two cyclists at the first gate who said they bicycled to the top of the pass, so I might see more bicyclists, but there's a 50-50 chance, you know, I'll get to the falls without seeing another person. Also, this is convenient. This is milepost 17, and the mileposts from here are a little bit harder to find, but they're still there. So that also means this is 17 miles from my home, and the falls, I think, is at about milepost 20. So 3 miles, how hard can that be, right? So it's been about a half mile, and I'm getting off and walking. And one thing you can see, road's still paved. And I remembered the pavement ending right after the second gate, but I'm not sure about that. Maybe the pavement did go on further. And also this could have been paved since then. And you can see right here, it's obviously a place with a lot of landslides and land slumps. So they might have paved it to deal with that. I said earlier that there was still some snow if you looked up high enough, and if you look up way up there, that's the snow level here, but you have to go a ways up in the Sapphires. Bitterroot still have a lot of snow on them. Well, here's the sign, and it's not really clear to me but at first, but yeah, that's end of pavement, and that happens right here. And the sign, as well as the pavement ending, like, one of the things about going up this road is that, like, the layers of things that always give you comfort and guidance and, like, oh yes, I'm on a road, my hand is being held, are taken away until really, like, at this point, I really do feel I'm out there. Earlier I talked about I was getting ready to hit a wall, and I think it finally happened, partly because of this surface. This gravel road is kind of loose, and so it's hard to get much momentum in it going uphill. And also it's just been a hard ride, so right here I'm walking along, and I might be doing that for a while, and I might be doing that more or less until I reach my destination, which at this point is only 2 miles. How far can 2 miles be, right? Well, once again, I guess I underestimated myself because, or overestimated the road, because I'm cruising along again. And let's see how long I can keep this up for, right? And the creek is back on my right over there, and pretty soon we'll leave the creek side and we'll start climbing, but not for a while, I guess. So at this point I'm doing about half and half, walking my bicycle and cycling till my knees or ankles get too sore either way. And one thing is, I actually don't know how many times I've been up this far. I can think of 3 times, making this the 4th time, that I've been this far past the second gate. I'm not sure about that, but the point there is that I don't actually recognize any of the landmarks here, so I don't know how far I have to go, and it seems like it's going forever because it's supposed to only be like 3 miles from the second gate, and wow, I mean, it is a climb. So, also, part of this is that now that I'm into this, and into like a really nice place where I can appreciate the solitude and the beauty, I am kind of tired, kind of just looking forward to my goal. You can see how far we are above the river down there. or maybe you can. Sometimes distances like this are hard to estimate in places like this, but we have climbed. And one other thing about this, I probably said in the Centennial Grove video that like that is out of cell phone reach. So if you can imagine that's out of cell phone reach, you can imagine where we are now, boxed in by this canyon. A lot of times when you're out of cell phone reach, you can still see the emergency calls only. I don't even have that. Like there is literally no signal reaching my phone. So part of that is that if something bad happens here, I'm kind of stuck up the creek without a paddle. And that's part of doing things outdoors. But yeah, that does have an element of fear to it, obviously. Another aspect of that lack of signal is my GPS, which usually works even without signal. I have no idea how accurate that signal is because I was looking at the map, the cached map, and don't know how accurate that is. So I don't know how far I've come or how far I have to go. But also, as I talked about in the fear video, the fact that all of my fears right now are about concrete things, time, distance, no anxiety, just that kind of sweet feeling of fear in my heart. Okay, enough philosophizing. I'm going to get up and go ahead because that snow is going to be some of the highest points. So it's before that, at least I know that much. Well, now that snow up there doesn't look that far above us. And also from here, that just looks like some patches. But if you were actually up there, that might be like knee-deep snowfield. Okay, well, I hope that means I'm getting closer. I hear something ahead, but I don't want to get my hopes up. There's also like a fake falls. There's a smaller falls before you hit the falls, but we'll find out. So maybe I should just tell you all this is Skalkaho Falls and turn around, but that would not be true. This is the falls that's right before the falls. I wish I knew how far. If you look down, again, sometimes it's hard to see distances, but we have climbed a lot above the creek, even as the creek itself has been climbing. And if you look forward, see that line of hills? I believe and hope that is my destination. But as I always say, we will find out. I can't tell for certain because it's a ways down there. But is that snow? That looks like that's still a snowfield. So even though where I am, there hasn't been snow for a while, in the shadows and where it built up on the creek, there's still snow down there. So this here was not the answer, so I'm just going to say one more turn. For context, it's right before 5 p.m. and half of the effort of my journey has literally been the last 2 or 3 miles. It is hard for me to believe it's only been 3 miles. Even at a normal slow walking pace, that should only take me like 45 minutes, and it's been a while, but I am going uphill, and so I'm just gonna assume it's the next one. And sun doesn't go down until 9 o'clock, so I still have plenty of time, but I am hoping that this happens sooner rather than later. So it is nice to turn around and look and see how far I've come. So those mountains with the snow, I think that's right before the Skalkaho Highway road turnoff. You can see how far we are, and now we are almost getting close to even with the snow level, and I'm thinking that just around this bend, once again, is the pot of gold. Of course, when I said next bend, I meant this next bend, not this little mini bend, of course, just around this bend. Do you hear that up ahead? I certainly do. There we are, there's Skalkaho Falls. Rushing, very strong at this time of year. I am proud of myself for making it this far. I'm going to sit down for a minute. This is also the first time I've been able to touch snow. I will probably not actually touch the snow, but I could. And that's probably actually preserved because we're in a canyon, and all this cold water keeps the air cold. Well, there's some snow to touch. Touching snow. Yay! So the falls, I don't think I can add anything to explain them. The one thing I will say is that because the gate is closed, I did indeed not see any other people on the way up here. And a lot of times there would be at least 1 or 2 cars pulled up here and people around. So because I visited before the gate is open, I got to see them like this. Of course, by the time I got here, I was very tired, but I think this was worth it. And you can see there's a piece of construction equipment there, so they're probably preparing this road for the gate opening in a couple weeks. And if you continue that way, the pass is in only in quote, air quotations, 5 or 6 miles. And I've been there before, and right now, no idea how I did that, because it really did cash me out coming this far. And from here, the road turned, and I don't know if it climbs up so much, but it does go up and down. And the pass is at 7,200 feet, so that's up there. So it's very majestic. Still cold. I can feel the cold air coming off. And parts of the falls are above what you see there, but I think this is the single sharpest part. And if you go on the other side, it actually drains through a culvert, and it drains through there, so that continues to be a waterfall, but of a slightly less majestic bent, and then it joins the creek a little bit down there. And at different times of the year, it's a little bit less impressive, but it's all as impressive. And other times when I've got here, either because it was at low season or because I was dumber, I got up on those rocks. Today, no, I'm all alone here. I'm not going to play any tricks. And from here, I actually probably turn around and start on my way back down. One other thing to notice, a lot of those trees were burnt. There was a fire here, I'm trying to think, 2013, 2014, and it was not as devastating as some other fires. Actually, that was 2011. There's been several fires here. The area right around the falls was preserved, but other places around here you do see burning, but that's pretty normal up here. So I'm turning around, don't know what type of summing thing to say. No way to gild the lily about seeing that falls after such a long ride up here. So right now, it's 5:30, and if I stayed here too long, it would start getting chilly. Actually, I'm glad I brought that sweater now. It took me a while to get up here because I left at noon, so 5 hours to go 20 miles. You can laugh at me about that. And I'm really have to look at where all that time was, because I was making pretty good progress, really up even till the second gate, and then 3:30. It took me 2 hours to go 3 miles. I'm gonna have to double check those figures. And so now the hardest part will be the patience to go down slowly, because I don't want to, go too fast on this road, and that's where I'm glad I have a mountain bike. So from here it's downhill, and there won't be a lot of effort having to put into going downhill. And the next 6 miles all the way to the first gate, I'll time myself, and it will probably take, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes. So let's find out. I'm about to go downhill, and there won't be any footage of me going downhill because I'm going to be safe, but there will probably be a piece of footage in here. But right now I think I'm out of things to say, and you can draw your own conclusions about where we are and how great this is. So I have to be careful while doing this. One thing on the way down so far, it's only been a couple thousand feet, but it's been more difficult than I thought and hard to go fast because this road is pretty bumpy, so I'm using my brakes because I don't want to hit a rock and go crazy, which is also why I'm about to put my camera. So here's where the pavement starts, and it's 6:05. 30 minutes to go 2.5 miles downhill. That doesn't make sense to me. So there's something weird going on there. I have to think about that, although I did stop once or twice. Hopefully once I get on the pavement, things will go a lot easier. But coming down, it really was one of those cases where it's how did I get up this? That was a lot of effort to get up that hill. Okay, this is going to be less effort from here. So yes, once I hit the pavement, this became much easier and much easier to bicycle on. This continues to be a beautiful downhill ride, and I think I earned it. Obviously, I'm not going to record for long, but right now we're going by the side of the road between the second and first gates. And right now I'm riding the brakes, and you can still see I'm going pretty fast with no effort. So all of this is great, but as usual, like, yeah, I should not even be doing this. And our friends, the bighorn sheep, are still here. I mean, this looks like a nice meadow, so a good place to put some weight on after the winter. Hi, how are you doing? And they're not very shy of people, and that's good for me, but that might be bad for them in the long run. So I'm cruising down nicely. We have some lens flare as the sun is starting to set, still a ways away. One thing, I said that the sun wasn't setting till 9 p.m. That's above the horizon. Obviously in those canyons and stuff, it was getting shadowed pretty early. And so it was getting kind of dark and chilly there. So it's good I returned when I did, especially because that cold air was one of the things causing me to cough, which is still a problem. And as you come down, I came down to from, I should remember, 6,500 feet at the falls, 6,200 feet at the falls, to probably about 4,000 here. It's like you hit the warmer air, and it's a nice feeling. This is probably already too long of a video. Probably already too long of a video, but in conclusion, today was one of those days where I was going good and thought I had good energy, and I did push myself a little bit too far. Maybe I should have broken it up into two trips. But also it's kind of this balance between the mountain will still be there tomorrow, and you're never going to get perfect conditions, and sometimes you have to try stuff a little bit further. And I think I learned a valuable lesson, and I think I'm going to be very still for a while.